Namaste. A warm welcome to all our viewers who have gathered together to watch today's presentation of Erasing Borders Festival of Indian Dance. My name is Shruti Mohan, and I'm one of the curators for this festival this year. And it is our greatest privilege to welcome each and every single one of you on behalf of the IAAC board and the entire curatorial team. Without further ado, I'd like for us to step right into the performance. Today, we have a very special show lined up with not one but two artists. And let's start with our first artist of the day, Miss Divya Oni. Welcome, Divya.
Thank you, Shruti. Namaste to all viewers.
Really nice to have you here. And Divya, as many of you already know, is a fabulous dancer, a wonderful actor, and a young and beautiful mother of three. So, before we jump further into this interview, I'd also like to invite her accompanying artist, a fantastic singer who is joining us all the way from India. I'd like to welcome Miss Bhagyalakshmi Guruvayur.
Namaste. Thank you, Shruti. Namaste.
Hi, Bhagya. Welcome. So, before we ask further questions about the work that you're going to be presenting, I want our viewers to know what's happening with you guys. Where are you filming this from? Divya, tell me, where are you located right now?
I'm currently in Houston, Texas. So that's where I've been for the last 17 years. And once the lockdown started, um, I've been, staying home. Actually, the only time I got out maybe for shooting our Erasing Border video.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I have a baby, an 8-month-old baby, so been trying to, and my parents are here with me, so been trying to stay home most of the time. And yeah, so that's what I'm in Texas, Houston.
What about you, Bhagya? Where are you located?
Yeah, I'm currently from Cochin. My native is Guruvayur, but I'm currently at Cochin. And it's lockdown here too. So all the programs have been postponed to next year. So I'm currently busy with my online classes and some
Right.
online performances.
How nice. I mean, I know this lockdown has really brought many of our lives to an absolute standstill, but it's really nice to see artists continue to persevere and create fabulous works of art. And I know both of you have worked together in a very interesting fashion for this particular project. So let's talk about this project. Divya, what have you named this project and why did you choose that name?
So I've named it It's a New Beginning. And a new beginning in the sense we have been hearing the word new normal a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I think more than saying new normal, it is a new start for all of us, I would say. We are just embracing the new normal. So keeping that in mind is why I chose that name. It's a new beginning. But while talking about this, I would like to mention that this is the first time me and Bhagya are on a video call even. We have never even gone through a video call for making this project happen.
Okay,
It's
tell me
been
more. How did you guys do this? Like, what was this collaboration like? How did you actually get to work with each other? Was it over the phone? How did you exchange ideas? Tell us all about it.
So it was I have we have worked together for dance performances back in India. So I know her for the past 2-3 years. I've worked with Bhagya, and then when I got a call from you, when I got this invitation from Erasing Borders, so and the theme was, how do you look at this lockdown? That's exactly what you told me. Like, what do you feel about the whole situation? And I thought a lot of things were happening, even though everybody said everything has come to a standstill. I felt like the mind was running in a faster pace. Like we were internalizing a lot of things, be it the performances. There was suddenly lot of exposure and lot of time for us to become more close to our art, and which provoked a lot of thinking. So then I got this, I thought a lot of changes were happening within, and it was more spiritual for me. So um, I called Bhagya one day and I said, "There's this festival and this is the theme they've given me, and I have this idea of this is the idea, this is the theme." And at that point, I just had a starting like a tip. I said, "Bhagya, I want to start. I know I want to start like this. There's this human being, and then it's looting nature. That's all I know. I don't know after that where I'm going to go. And I know that human being is going to go into a lockdown." And Bhagya, like she's very receiving. She doesn't like interrupt, or um, she doesn't actually judge. She just says, "Yes, Chechi, okay, Chechi. So let me just give me the moments." And that's also one thing about her. See, usually there's music and then you kind of choreograph it. But she told me, "What would you like to present? Just do a rough movement video and send it." So that's what I did, and I would send videos like that, and she would send music bits on WhatsApp, and once in a while we would actually, even direct calling was very rare. We would always send each other voice notes. We always
Okay.
send each other voice notes. So at night, right when my baby is sleeping, I would just walk around doing some actions and send some videos, and the last note would be, "Bhagya, only you should be seeing these videos because I'm just forming, and it's just only she would get it. It would look like me just walking around and talking and things like that." So that's how it all
Bhagya,
started.
so Bhagya, tell me, now that you've received these instructional videos from Divya, what do you do next? What's your thought process like? I know you are a little bit of a trained dancer too, right? So walk us through what you go through once you receive Divya's voice notes and videos.
Yeah, I must say that Divya Chechi completely trusted me, and she was the person who was very receiving actually, because she will tell an idea, and I will start thinking, and I will give her a huge task. Like, Chechi, can we do like this? Can we do this? Can we do this? I will give her many options, because this is a lockdown time. We all were active till March 20th. Suddenly, everything stopped. So this work was really very inspiring for me to work again, uh, especially the theme she chose, and also the instructions she gave me, and also at every point of our work, we both felt like whenever we get stuck at a point, something will come, and actually, still I couldn't believe how this all the kriti we connected, and all those slokas came into our production. Everything is really a blessing actually. I felt like that it was a very it was a like a spiritual, as she told, it was really a spiritual connection that all happened.
Yes. So, Bhagya, tell us this. How do you decide which raga to use or which shlokam to use? Like, how did that come about? I know you said there is a divine connect to how everything fell in place, but what is your input in this whole creation?
Yeah. Actually, my input is like, I have to give a clear production audio, and also I have to make clear that it is in the format of a production. Besides just a music and piece or something like that, I should ensure that it should start with a Pushpanjali, and it has a process, and it has to end like this. So that was my very aim when I begin this project. The ragas that came, actually, that also happened. We did. I didn't. or Divya Chechi didn't tell me we should use this raga, this raga. She gave me all the freedom. So everything happened actually. Actually, the Pushpanjali and everything we set in another raga. But when we worked out on the other parts of the production, I felt like the Pushpanjali is a little dull. The same time, the Vijaji also felt like, yeah, this raga brings our energy level down, so we can change. So it was actually, it all happened actually. The only raga which I was particular was the Pantwarali that should come in a confused state, and I planned that part of the production only. The rest everything happened actually.
Okay, nice. So now it's interesting that you use the word this particular raga should come during the confused state. So now, Divya, my question to you is what is this confused state that she's talking about? I know that your production actually takes you through various states of mind and emotions, right? So can you talk to us about these various phases so that our viewers will get an idea?
So the production starts off with a Pushpanjali, and then at the end we show that there is a life, there is a soul put in, there is a soul put into the to a body. There's a human that's created, and its five senses are starting to work, and then it's realizing everything around. So first it appreciates, and then the very next second it shows the human nature to own it, to that desire to own it. And then that desire becomes sort of a looting nature kind of a thing. And then that is where we go into all this deforestation, and there's a segment where we do the poison of the elements. And then comes this, suddenly there is this lockdown state where nothing happens to the human as such, but then everything around is so dark and new and unclear. Like this human is not aware of, did it, is it going to be alive or dead? Is a punishment coming for me? Or so there is this confused state, and it's not understanding what's happening. There's darkness all around, but then nothing has happened to this person. So and that is where this going back within, and there's this light, and then there's this form of the goddess coming out. And then to its surprise, the goddess doesn't harm. And that is the most fierce form of Kali comes out. And usually Kali is like full of wrath, and there is no pardon. That word of I excuse you is not there in her dictionary. Usually that image we have. But she's seen holding this medicated water and the leaves. So all this is very confusing for the human. For me, it was overwhelming that even Ma Kali coming in that form and quietly, it's like, when we spill something in our kitchen and our mother is quietly like, okay, just move, don't get yourself hurt, let me clean it up. It was that overwhelming for me. So that is the confusion. This, okay, why did I end up doing all this? And why am I being excused for all this? Like, oh my God, what have I done? That kind of. So it's so many layers of confusion, I would say. And the biggest confusion, Shruti, was when we reached this lockdown state. So the human has messed up the entire world around and just gone into lockdown. Those explosions. And then for a week, even we didn't know. We and Bhagya, we both were in the lockdown also. We were like, yeah, so there's this light. I said, Bhagya, there's a light within. And then I don't know what to do. Every day I would send her this message. Yeah, the light is still there, Bhagya. I don't know what happens after that. And then suddenly my guru, Amma Mata Amritan, my Amma, so I got this message. I follow her on social media, and I got this message that she told everybody to imagine this form of Ma Kali sprinkling the entire universe with this medicated water. So that's how that form got put in. And I told Bhagya, see, this is the message that Amma, this is the guidelines she gave for meditation yesterday. And then Bhagya was like, Chesi, Guru is something, I tell you. And from there, then we picked it up from there and we started working. So There are a lot of confusions. I don't know which confusion I should focus on.
No, I mean it's really wonderful that you're able to tie in like personal states of conflict with the message that you're trying to portray using your dance. Um, which, yeah, you're right. I mean, we're all in a state of confusion right now. That is the norm. So I think it's wonderful that you created this work and aptly named it A New Beginning, which it truly is. And so now I'm sure our viewers are really like, waiting to watch this beautiful work of art that both of you have created for us. So without further ado, let's go ahead and watch Divya's video, and we'll come back and talk a little bit after watching the video.
Tam tom tagajanu tadom tadom tadom. Tam tom tagajanu tadom tadom tadom. Tagajanu tam tadagajanu tam tadagajanu tam tadam tom tagajanu tadom Tagajanudam, tadagajanudam, tadagajanudam, tadam tom. Tagajanu, tadom, 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 tadom. Tagajanudam, tadagajanudam, tadagajanudam, tadam tom. Tagajanu, tadom, 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 tadom. Tagajanudam, tadagajanudam, tadagajanudam, tadam tom. Tagajanu, tadom, 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 tadom. Tam tadom, tadhim tadom. Dhim tadom, tadam 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 tadom. Tagadimi tagajanu tagadimi tam. Tadim ginadum tadim ginadum tadim ginadum dam tom. Tagajanu tadom 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 tadom. Tagajanu tam tadagajanu tam tadagajanu dam tadam tom. Tagajanu tadom 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 tadom. Tadom 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 tadom. Tadom 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 tadom. Ni sa ri re sa. Ni sa ri re sa. Ri ga ma ma pa ma ga ga ma ga ri re ga ri sa. Ri ga ma ma pa ma ga ga ma ga ri re ga ri sa. Sa ri ga ma ma pa dha pa ma ga ri ga ma pa dha pa ma ga ma pa dha ni sa ni dha ni da pa ma ga ri ga ma ga ri sa. Pa dha ni sa ni dha ni da pa ma ga ri ga ma ga ri sa ni da pa ma ga ri ni sa ri re sa. Ni sa ri re sa. Ri ga ma pa ma ga ma ga ri re ga ri sa. Ri ga ma pa ma ga ma ga ri re ga gari sa sari ga ma ga ma ga ma pa dha pa pa ma gari ga ma ga ma ga ma pa dha pa pa ma ga ma pa dha ni sa ri sa ni dha ni sa ni da pa ma gari ga ma gari sa pa dha ni sa ri sa ni dha ni sa ni da pa ma gari ga ma gari sa ni da pa ma gari ni 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 sa 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 ri 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 sa ni 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 sa 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 ri 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 sa ri ga ma ma pa ma ga ga ma ga ri ri ga ri sa ri ga ma ma pa ma ga ga ma ga ri ri ga ri sa sa ri ga ma ga ma ga ma pa dha pa pa ma ga ri ga ma ga ma ga ma pa dha pa pa ma ga ma pa dha ni sa ri sa ni dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga ri ga ma ga ri sa pa dha ni sa ri sa ni dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga ri ga ma ga ri sa ni da pa ma ga ri ni 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 sa 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 ri 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 sa ni 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 sa 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 ri 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 sa kidataka tam 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 tataka dim 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 tataka tum 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 tataka nam 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 tataka tam tam tarikataka dim dim tarikataka tum tum tarikataka nam nam tarikataka tam tarikata dim tarikata tum tarikata nam tarikata tam tarikata dim tarikata tum tarikata nam tarikata tatta tarikata ditti tarikata tum tum tarikata nam nam tarikata tatti ginnatum tatti ginnatum tatti ginnatum tatti ginnatum tatti ginnatum tatti ginnatum kidataka tarikata tum kidataka tarikata tum kidataka tarikata tum sagama da gama da ni sa sa da ni sa gama ga sa ni da ni sa gama ga sa ni da ni da ma gama da da ni sa gama ga sa ni da ni sa gama ga sa ni sa ni da ma ga ma ga da ni sa gama ga sa ni da ni sa gama ga sa ni da ni da ma ga ma da da ni sa gama ga sa ni da ni sa gama ga sa ni sa ni da ma ga ma ga sa sa ga ga sa sa ma ma sa sa da da sa sa ni ni ga sa ni da ni sa ni da ma ga sa ga ma da ni sa ga sa ni da ni sa ni da ma ga sa ga ma da ni da ga sa ni da ni sa ni da ma ga ma da ni sa ga ma సరి సరి మరి మద మద సరి మద మరి హుంకార మాతృశత్రు ధమని रुद्राणि हुङ्कारमातृशत्रु धमनी ह्रीङ्कार रूपिणी रुद्राणि ओङ्कारकारिणि मदहङ्कारवारिणि अवतु माम् ओङ्कारकारिणि मुरली सुधालहरी विहारिणि पुररिपु प्रेमित त्रिपुर सुन्दरी मुरली सुधालहरी विहारिणि पुररिपु प्रेमित त्रिपुर सुन्दरी करुणारसभरित ललित लवङ्गी करुणारस करुणारस करुणारसभरित ललित लवङ्गी वरदा भयदा सकल शुभाङ्गी वरदा भयदा सकल शुभाङ्गी द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षं शान्तिः पृथ्वी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वो देवाः शान्तिब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सा मा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
That was fantastic, Divya. Bhagya, what a beautiful voice you have. So, what I really loved about that video, Divya, was the fact that you traveled through various locations uh, in Houston. So, it would be great if you can talk to us about each location and what compelled you to choose that location, and how was it dancing out there in public in a full costume?
Okay, so let's talk about what compelled me. My curate, my curator thought that it would be nice to take it outside. So initially, we did have a trial where we recorded it indoors, and you know, just like, see, this is a big challenge that artists are having to face now. Everything has to be done by us. Like, so we have to learn a little more about how to be well lit, and how to, what angle to use. So we have to kind of, even when we are choreographing, I'm really not sure if I will be able to do the exact choreography on stage. Maybe I'll have to tweak a few things. So we did try it, and then there was this idea of why not take it outside, because in the urban setting, dance, and because this was a theme completely connected to the current situation. So I did speak to a few of my friends and students, who know the downtown area better, and one of my students, who's also a photographer, she suggested that there is this park where you get there is a bridge, and there's this park where you get the entire downtown view. So it's so common to take pictures and video there that the traffic actually respects that, and if they see people taking pictures, they kind of slow down. So it's meant for that. So we went, and me and Arun, my husband, we went there one evening just to check out, and there was a nice, beautiful stage there. So but it had this dark look. So I felt like, okay, so this is, see, I wanted this Kali's image to be bright and the rest dark, because it's coming out of a dark mind, and she's the only light coming out. So I thought definitely the Kali part can be done there. And the rest, the ending section, I wanted to present it where the human is still around. It's not like suddenly we go back all the way into the forest. See, I don't know how possible that is for us. Suddenly we decide we do not want anything. No, we decide from here we grow, but we grow differently. So I wanted to show that. So there is still everything is there around us, and we're at the edge of destruction, but because we got this awareness, we are going to follow a different path and look at things differently. So I wanted to bring that feel, which is why we ended up with that skyscrapers and everything. That's the ending. So and then the lady in the mask, that was just a painting there.
That
So I
was
don't
my
know.
favorite. I really loved it. I mean, it's so, like a couple of years from now, we're all going to look at that and we're going to remember that, we lived through these strange times. It just makes it so much more real for us. So yeah, tell us why did you choose that location, and what was it like, and what was the meaning of that particular segment that you were dancing over there?
So that is when it's like you're standing, and then you see cracks all around you. That's the feeling the character is going through. Like you don't know what's going to happen to you. All around it's chaotic. So I really thought that lady's eyes also had that fear, that painting, and then I thought that was a good location for the background. Actually, Arun is the person who found it. It was just an entrance to the park, and it's a brand new thing. This is, if there's somebody else who has visited the Sabine Park before, they would not have seen it. Like, this is all new additions during the lockdown period. So we thought that's a good place to just record the starting of that traveling with in journey, and we just tried it.
Yeah, I thought that was fabulous. The woman with the mask and what sounded like a very crucial point in your production where there is a lot of what sounds like gunshot and fear and general mayhem, and then you come back to Kali and then finally to Mother Nature, and it was just beautiful. So, Divya, Bhagya, thank you so much for being part of this year's Erasing Borders Festival of Indian Dance, and thank you so much for creating such a beautiful work of art with all the limitations and constraints that we had forced upon you. I think that you both did a fabulous job, and I really, really am looking forward to seeing more beautiful works of art coming from both of you. Thank you so much for being part of this year's festival.
Thank you. And it gives us a lot of hope that we were able to work like this, sitting in two different parts of the world. And we have to mention our music producer here, Ramu, for doing everything. Even during the lockdown, he came and they both had to be in the same city. So he traveled for that and they worked almost 48 hours because, see, when I go to sleep, they're up there. So but then finally, it's a new beginning for us dancers and musicians also that we are able to work like this. So that way
Very
also this
true.
title makes sense, and we are very grateful that we stumbled upon it or we were able to discover this. So that way we are very grateful that this happened, and we would like to thank you for this opportunity and the whole Rising Border team.
Thank you. It was wonderful. And thank you to Ramu and to Arun too. I mean, these days, everyone is picking up new skills. So thank you so much and keep growing, keep singing, keep dancing. And to all our viewers, do stay on. We have another wonderful performer coming right up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation that we just did with Divya Unni and her musician Bhagya Lakshmi Guruvayur. Now we move on to the next half of our presentation for today. We have a fabulous artist lined up for you, but before we introduce him, I would love to introduce our dearest intern, Deepashreya. Hi, Deepashreya, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing all right. How are you doing today, Shruti?
I am doing good. Tell us quickly, where are you?
I'm right now back home in Sunnyvale, California.
Wonderful. So, Deepashreya, why don't you introduce our artist for who's coming up next?
Yeah, for sure. So today we have one of our Bharatanatyam dancers, Arun Matai, here to talk a little bit about himself and his piece, Shivoham.
Hi, Arun. How are you?
I'm well, Shruti. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's really, really nice to see you here, and thank you so much for being part of this year's Erasing Borders Festival of Indian Dance. It's always, always, always good to have a wonderful young dancer as you are, Arun. And before we start talking about Shivoham, I do want you to talk to us about your personal journey as a dancer and say a few things about that fabulous guru that we both love and adore. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Shruti. So I'll start by saying thank you to IAAC and the Racing Borders for having me for the festival this year. And to address your question about my journey, I started learning Bharatanatyam when I was 7. And it actually started a little bit before that. My sister was learning, and I, as a really, really young kid, would sit in the back of her class and watch her dance. And I'm told that I'd go home and imitate the movement that I saw her doing. And my parents, thankfully, encouraged me to start learning. And when I was 7, I did start learning, and I started learning with my guru, Sundara Aunty, Sundara Swaminathan, at Kalavandana Dance Center in San Jose, and studied with her and still studied with her, completed my Arangetram with her. Moved to LA to go to the University of Southern California, where I currently still live in LA, and I'm still a dancer here. But over the course of the years, have tried other styles of dance, and also have taken classes with other gurus and teachers, including whom you referenced with the Rama Vaidyanathan Ramaka in Delhi. And I met her at a festival in Liverpool, Dance India, through Milap Fest. And that was actually where I first learned elements of Shivoham. And she invited me to continue studying with her. And so I traveled to Delhi and have been a few times to continue studying with her. And as you know, she is fabulous. So, and I'm incredibly grateful to all of the instructors and my gurus who have helped me get to where I'm at currently.
Thank you so much for talking us through your journey and how you got into dance. Now on to your piece, Shivoham. Why did you choose to focus your piece on Lord Shiva, and what do you think is the connection between Lord Shiva and the Black Lives Matter movement?
Sure. So to give some additional context, so the piece itself was actually originally conceptualized and choreographed by Rama Vaidyanathan. And the concept of the piece generally is that through all of the cyclicality of life, with the creation and the destruction, Shiva maintains calm and balance. And when we were initially presented with the opportunity to perform in this festival, the curators asked us to present a piece that we felt spoke to what's going on in the world right now. And this request came amidst, in some ways, what appeared to be like the pinnacle of the reignition of the Black Lives Matter movement, right? And it was on everybody's minds and on everybody's lips. We were learning more and more about George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and so many other Black men and women who had been murdered. And for me, when I started thinking about the piece again, and thinking about creation and destruction, and that you have to destroy in order to create, I started thinking about it in a slightly more hopeful perspective within the context of the Black Lives Matter movement. And the idea for me, again, drawing from the piece itself, the lyric itself, or the verse itself that the piece is drawn from, says, Shiva is in every breath and every being is Shiva. And so by extension, if you can see Shiva maintaining this balance of creation and destruction, and then we also realize that Shiva is in us and we are Shiva, that means that we are able to create and destroy to create. And I think about this in the context of the Black Lives Matter movement, because so much of what people are pushing for is for the dismantling of really oppressive systems that enable the deep racially motivated violence that we see in this country so regularly. And we want to ultimately dismantle, dissolve, and recreate in a new version. And so that's, to me, what I see as the connection between Shiva, this piece, and the Black Lives Matter movement. And ultimately, for me, what I'm trying to do is promote the movement and use my art in whatever small way that I can to promote that, because I think it's so important.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for your inspiring perspective on the Black Lives Matter movement and everything going on right now. Could you elaborate a bit more on the connection between Indian classical dance and social justice? More specifically, what conversations or realizations do you hope our audience will have after watching your piece?
It's a very important question, and there are many layers to it, right? And so, just in like the larger scale, focusing less on classical Indian art forms and more on art in general, art and social justice are inextricably interwoven, right? Like, it's so often the case throughout history that artists use their art to move matters of importance forward, right? And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that art avails of us is this ability to express ourselves in a way that hopefully is universally appreciable. And with the classical Indian art forms, I think one of the things that's nice about many of them is because so much of the dance itself is inextricably woven with storytelling. We can in some ways use the dance to very literally tell the story that we're trying to say. That's less the case in this particular piece, where we speak about it more in abstract forms. But it, in the sense that ultimately this is art, and we're using our art to move to move the needle, right? Like that is where that line is. There's the other element that I will frankly say I'm not educated enough on this to speak, I think, eloquently. But if you go even more minutely, when you're thinking about Bharatanatyam and social justice, we have to have a conversation also about the appropriation of the art form from the hereditary dancers. And I again, frankly, I am trying to educate myself on this, and I just don't know about it. But I don't think we can have a conversation about classical Indian dance and social justice without also, at a minimum, mentioning the appropriation that has happened. And so as I'm trying to do with myself and racism and anti-racism, and trying to educate myself and learn and unlearn, that's something that I'm also trying to do about the art form, about the dance itself that I've been studying for so long.
Yeah, definitely.
And sorry, it's just to answer the second part of your question in terms of what I hope the audience takes away. Going back to the larger picture, it's something that I realize, and I think many people of my generation will realize, is that unfortunately racism is a big issue in the South Asian community. And what I hope that this piece does is, at a minimum, spark conversation. And I feel like so many of my peers feel like there isn't much that we can do. And I think the reality is, even just having conversations with our parents and with our family members can have a huge impact. And ultimately getting back to this concept of Shiva is in me, I have this ability to, at a minimum, spark dialogue. And so that's what I'm hoping happens.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really glad that you put the Black Lives Matter movement to the forefront of the conversation, especially within the South Asian community. Now, as you know, the Black Lives Matter movement is one of the many turbulent aspects that we're facing in 2020, another one being COVID-19 and the pandemic. Could you tell us a bit about how your relationship with space has changed with the shift to online experiences?
That's an interesting question. One of the things that has happened for sure is that, in general, as we've been requested to maintain distance and stay home as much as possible, space is in some ways not what it used to be, right? Like, so much of what people think about when they think about the United States, it is space and this urban sprawl. And the reality is that I'm in my apartment in West Hollywood and spend most of my time here now. And from a dancing perspective, I don't have access to the studios that I used to rehearse and perform in before, right? And so in some ways it feels like on a very physical level, things have gotten a lot smaller and tighter. At the same time, as video conferencing has become more and more widely accepted, it almost feels like the world is also much more accessible at the same time, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I definitely feel the same way, where I'm more connected, but also more distant with people now during this time. Now, as we can see on your bio in our website, you have many different roles. You are a part-time lecturer, budget manager, all on top of also being a Bharatanatyam dancer. Could you share with us how you juggle these different roles and how you manage your time?
It's I'll be honest, it is a lot. And there are certainly times where the reality is it's just like you don't sleep, or you don't sleep as much as you would like to. But I think one of the beautiful things of having this foundational training in Bharatanatyam that I received from Sundaranti, and that I'm sure many classically trained dancers, and really anybody that's been doing something regularly with consistency. Ultimately, one of the things you learn is discipline and motivation and the ability to maintain that discipline. And I think that's what helps me get through, is just I'm able to prioritize and work diligently towards whatever the specific goal is that I'm working towards.
Certainly. You touched on this a little bit before, but my last question for you is, if you had one piece of advice for aspiring or beginner dancers, what would that be and why?
Practice, honestly. And I know many of us often are tired of hearing our gurus say this, but there is nothing that makes up for practice. And I used to always say, and I think a lot of people would say, that practice makes perfect, but I'll actually take some inspiration from one of my nieces, who told me that it's not practice makes perfect, it's practice makes progress. And I think that's what we always need to strive for, regardless of where we are on the journey, is to continually progress forward, because nobody is perfect, right? And the only way to continue that movement and that progress is by practicing. And whether that's in the context of the specific question in dance, and that's practicing your dance, or if we're talking about progression of society as a whole, and practicing and learning and educating and re-educating, I think that's the only way that we can make positive strides forward.
Thank you so much, Arun. I mean, you are not just a beautiful dancer, but I think you are a very beautiful human being. You have a lovely message that was so important for all of us to listen to. And I do hope that, the heart that you bring to your work will come out through this lovely performance that you are going to showcase for us. And right now, just before us moving forward to watching the video, I do want to thank our lovely intern Deepashreya, without whom none of this would ever happen. So thank you so much, Deepashreya. Thank you so much, Arun. And for all our viewers, let's jump right in and watch this fantastic performance by young, beautiful artist Arun Matai.
जीवः शिवः शिवो जीवः जीवः शिवः शिवो जीवः जीवः शिवः शिवो जीवः शिवः शिवो जीवः जीवः शिवः
Shiva